We're excited to see how the market reacts to this glove. And, who knows what the future holds, but we're excited to be bringing this first to retail.
I had this in the back of my mind that I just really wanted to have a limited glove program that would come out and highlight the Mizuno stories, highlight our passion, highlight our materials, all this sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I just would add that any glove that we do, the main thing behind it that we're asked is what is the story? Because Japan, in order for us to continue to have freedom to bring things to market, they don't just want us bringing a color. They want us they want it to feel important and represent their brand.
When the name Mizuno comes to mind, a couple of the first words that I usually think of are class and craftsmanship. Whether it's the logo, the glove's intricate details, or the attention to detail from their youth gloves all the way to their professional gloves, it's clear that Mizuno is a first-class organization. And I think that by the end of this conversation today, I think that you'll understand why. Today's an exciting day for both Mizuno and for Just Gloves. First off, we're going to be revealing the latest edition of their 2024 limited gloves. And next, but probably even more importantly, we're going to be meeting the brain trust behind Mizuno's resurgence into the glove market within the last few years. Listeners, I would like to introduce you to Adam Vella and Will Startup. Adam is the territory manager for Mizuno Canada and has been working with Mizuno for over 15 years. And Will is his wingman, working as an associate brand manager at Mizuno's U.S. headquarters in Atlanta, Georgia. Fellas, welcome to Beyond the Glove.
Hey, man. Happy to be here.
All right, fellas, so the excitement is all about the reveal, and I don't want to leave any fans hanging, so let's go ahead and get right to this new drop from Mizuno. I'll give a little drum roll here. I don't know if you can hear it on the recording, but go ahead.
All right, here we go. I have it in hand.
Ooh.
And yeah, this is the palm feature, but we are going clear.
Oh, man. Look at that. Say that again, Will. What's that on the back there for the folks that aren't watching on YouTube?
So this is our clear material that we've been using for over 30 years with our brand to help educate. But this is going to be on the back of the finger stalls. And, as we talk about it, I can continue to spin. And I know some of you guys are listening on the podcast and can't see this as you listen, but you can see the back of my fingers through the shell back of the glove. And it's got a our Cross 8 web. It's a sky blue leather with yellow lace. And we have Mizuno Pro leather palm in the palm, sky blue in the palm as well. So Adam and I had just the best time dreaming this glove up. And on the back of wrist, you can see it has a brand new silicone white Runbird. Our logo is called the Runbird. Those who know, but for those of you kind of new to our brand, we call our logo the Runbird. So it's got a white silicone Runbird with black border, and also back of wrist has that sky blue leather covering up the back of hand, but the shell back is totally transparent. You can see into the thumb loops. And guys, let's talk about it. Let's get into this glove.
All right, so my first question I got to go with. So you had mentioned earlier, so the back of the glove, it's completely see-through, and you mentioned that, so Mizuno, you guys have been using this kind of see-through glove technology for a long time, you said?
Yes, could I tell you a quick funny story?
Yeah, absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, so I got into this position where I am now about 2 years ago, and one of my first meetings with Japan, I was just spitballing, brainstorming, and I said, is there any way we could do like a clear glove? I had never seen a clear glove. But I was like, is there any way we can do clear? And they kind of laughed at me and just waved it off. And about 2 months later, I'm following them, their Japanese account on Instagram, and I see a clear glove. And I was like, did they, I got a little bit up in my emotions and up in my feels. And I was like, did they just take my idea and not tell me about it? So instead of being reactionary and firing off an email, I just waited on it a day, and then I shot a note to Japan, and I said, hey, I'm just curious. Can you tell me about these clear gloves? And they said, Yes, we've been making them for over 30 years, and every account that partners with them in Japan, they send that account, that store, a clear glove so that it can be a talking piece inside their store. People can see how Mizuno gloves are crafted. So it was old news to them. And of course, the wheels in our brains, Adam and my brain, start spinning. We really want to bring this to the North American market. So here it is.
Nice. And so, Adam, with this clear material on the back of the glove, typically we're always seeing like leather that goes on the back of your glove. With this material, this is just a question that I have: does that hold up to the demands of like playing in a baseball game, like rubbing it against the dirt and stuff like that?
Yeah, that's a great question, Ben. And I think for us at Mizuno and in North America, when we saw these, we got very excited. Um, and they are an educational piece. They are, I'm going to say, a collector's item in North America. And Will and I aren't going to sit here and tell you to use the glove or not use the
Okay.
glove, but it is one of those things where it could be a collector's item. You could put it on your hand and you could use it, but it is not leather, obviously. But it is a very cool, very unique looking glove that we're excited to bring to consumers in North America that they can actually buy
Yeah.
one next week, and we're hoping that people are excited about it.
Nice. And then I've noticed this in professional baseball quite a bit. I really like that logo on the back of the wrist there. In professional baseball, if you notice on their helmets, they've been doing the kind of raised logos on the helmets, which I really like a lot. So I enjoy that you guys have that logo on there as well. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we love it too. We noticed we're doing some new things and seeing some new options, asking for new options, and that's one of the things we had access to.
Nice. And so this model is going to be, from what I understand, extremely limited. How many how many of these are going to be available through Mizuno and retailers like us here at Just Gloves?
I don't think we want to dive into the exact specifics of that, but what I am confident saying is there will be under 100 units coming to the United States. So that's the plans for this, and that is what you will see and have access to. And then we're excited. We're excited to see how the market reacts to this glove. And, who knows what the future holds, but we're excited to be bringing this first to retail because we have, last year, when we saw this glove that we have the capability for clear, we had Austin Riley's game model. We had his game model made in clear, and we delivered it to him in spring training. We, collected some assets, put it on Instagram. And then the glove world is very quick to react and produce samples and things like that. And definitely have seen some other brands do clear as well. But in our mind, just knowing we've been doing it the longest, we really wanted to also bring it to the market first.
Nice. That is awesome. Yeah, no. So this is the first time that this technology is going to be available on like somewhat of a wide scale range, correct?
Correct. Yeah, nobody's ever been able to buy one before. I think even in Japan, it's just for the shop to educate the consumer. So we wanted people to be able to have it because the people who did peek it and see what we were flashing around, everybody, I gotta have that glove. I gotta get it. How much does it cost? And so Adam and I, we knew we were sitting on a great idea, but finally came to light.
The first. Oh no,
The
go
one
ahead, Adam. You're good.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say the one difference that we did see is the Japanese educational pieces do have a clear palm as well. So the whole glove is see-through. So the one change that we did want to make was to put a leather palm and a leather palm liner on that glove, so that if someone did want to play catch with it or did want to, get it on a field, they'd be able to do that. So the Japanese market ones that people have seen for 30 years, the palm is completely clear. You can see the palm line or the glove adhesive. I have actually the first prototype that we did do with this glove, and you can probably see it here. It did have no palm liner, so you can see the glove adhesive in there. And we decided to make a couple changes and what Will has as the final product.
For those not watching on YouTube, Adam was showing the first prototype that they made of that glove. Which did it have the clear palm as well on it?
We started with just
Okay, gotcha.
a leather palm, but there was clear
On the
palm
inside,
liner, and we
gotcha.
decided to add
And I
that.
do
Yeah.
have, I know for podcast sake, I do have a couple at my desk that are the totally clear. But yeah, the final version has that palm and back of wrist with leather.
Nice. That's awesome. So let's get the story on this the limited glove program from Mizuno. So when a new line of gloves like this is released, there always has to be something behind it. So maybe the brand felt like they needed to move into a certain sector of the glove market, or maybe they felt that something was missing in the glove market as a whole. Adam, when did what was the original purpose behind the release of the limited glove program from Mizuno?
Yeah, that's a good question, Ben. And it did start in Canada, and the program is kind of twofold. There's kind of two sections of it. There's the Canadian first kind of trial run of it, and then when it did eventually come to the US. But our first glove in Canada was March 23rd, 2022. Very special date for myself to see this glove program get off the ground. And it was a glove called Louise, and it was a Mizuno Pro, and it's named after a famous lake in Banff, Alberta, up here, and it's this beautiful blue color. But yeah, that original glove kind of kickstarted some things. But the origin of the story was actually well before 2022. I had this glove of the month idea with a strict kind of cadence of these gloves coming out, and at that time, I wasn't in a position at Mizuno Canada to kind of make something like that happen. And there's some competitors doing that sort of thing, and they're doing a really good job of it. And I was just kind of sitting back watching, and it's pretty impressive what some other brands were doing. And then COVID hit, and when COVID hit, for us, it changed a lot of things, obviously for everyone around the world, and supply chain took a big hit. And we were sitting around like seeing how our business was going to be affected, and positively and negatively, and all that sort of stuff. So our ability to kind of create new products and be confident in the manner and the timing that they would come out was going to be difficult for us. So I had this in the back of my mind that I just really wanted to have a limited glove program that would come out and highlight the Mizuno stories, highlight our passion, highlight our materials, all this sort of stuff. And then the other thing that kind of happened at the same time was our ability to communicate got so much better. So we would have these video calls with the US and with Japan, and we wouldn't have to wait overnight for these emails to come in. So I said, like, I kind of had this kind of idea when we were talking on a video call with them. I said, like, with Japan, would you be interested in us kind of doing this program? And they kind of looked and said, yeah, like, I think you could do something like that on a smaller scale. So they really wanted the North American models involved, but I knew that we had this little kind of secret factory kind of thing in Japan, and if we could incorporate that into this, there might be something special here. So that was kind of the origin story, and after that, like, we got the green light basically from Japan, and when that happened, this big weight came off my chest. But we did the first year of it, and then that's when Will came in and really was able to throw gasoline on the fire. Will came in, and the Mizuno USA marketing team was able to package these gloves in a nice little package with the glove and the story. And after the first year in Canada, the second year where the US got involved is where things really jumped and took a step forward for us. And it's been really great to see so far.
I really like that. From one thing that you pointed out just as you were speaking about, I love Mizuno's respect from meeting with you guys. When other glove companies do things well, I love your guys' humility, how you always acknowledge, you're like, that's a great idea. And like, I love that part about you guys. And then as well, but like I said in the intro, I think the two words are class and craftsmanship. You guys can use that as well in like have this program, and it's going to be different from everything else that's out there because it is Mizuno. Yeah, the coolness of that glove is clearly obvious. And then as well, this last year, you guys had the Scott. I love that Scott Rowland model that you guys came out with the old. Yeah, you got it right up there. He's pointing to it on the YouTube feed. I love that old M. That's like the first glove I lost it that I ever had was a Mizuno. It was a hand me down, and I lost it at baseball practice. I remember my parents being really mad, but I remember that M more than anything is what was on the glove. You guys had the Kenta Maeda Flow, the Ichiro model. How many of these? What number? This one that's coming out on March 6th. What is the what number is that in the release of the Mizuno Limited Glove Program?
Do you want to count U.S. only?
I guess, yeah, I would say probably from March 23rd, 2022, when Adam had that date marked.
Right. So this is going to be our 9th. And like you said, you kind of rolled them off. We started last January in 2023 with the Ichiro Pro Limited from Haga, the KM Flow from Haga, the Roland from Haga. We did the A51 Mizuno Pro, the Space Gray, back in August. We did a Keto. I know Adam did a Keto, and then Cowabunga Pro Select in October. Old Faithful Haga in November. Winwood Pro Select in December. We did the Majesty that you know, if those of you watching, that was this past January, and then this will be our ninth release on the U.S. side.
Nice. That's exciting. And kind of going back a little bit to what Adam said earlier, I think you kind of prefaced what I'm about to talk about here. So you mentioned a little factory, I think, in Japan. And so that opens up I'll admit, in the last 6 months or so, I've only began to start to learn about this little movement that is going on in the U.S. regarding the Mizuno Haga factory in Haga, Japan. So we got to talk about this. And I guess one of my first questions would probably be for Adam. So within the Mizuno Limited Glove Program, not every single one is a Haga glove, correct?
No, that's correct. So, for us, I think it was important to show off, the Mizuno craftsmanship across a bunch of different lines. But the Haga was kind of the flagship thing to bring people's eyes in and say, hey, like, Haga gloves are coming to North America now, and we're bringing them here, and they're not only going to be just Haga, they're going to be special Hagas. They're going to be different than you've seen before. We're going to throw some different stuff in there. And that factory actually started in 1989. Okay. So at that time, I was 5 years old. Will was 5 years old. And, that was actually the first year of the Mizuno Pro. The first ever Mizuno Pro baseball glove was 1989. So it's just kind of a tiny little village 2 hours north of Osaka, I believe. I've never been there. I know Will's going. I'm hoping to go with him this year.
Look at him.
We're pretty pumped. He's pretty pumped about that. But it's one of those things where, like, that factory is magical, and I could talk for hours about the precision and the craftsmanship that goes into that place. But yeah, it's a tiny little secret that we've had that we're trying to shout about now in North America and let people know that, hey, this is the best ball glove factory in the world. And if you get your hands on a Haga, you better if you get the chance to, you better go.
And could I add something? Mm-hmm. Okay, so. Inside the factory, there are 5 glove craftsmen, and of those 5, there's 1 master craftsman. So they do an incredible job. Don't miss any details. And one of our employees, he's had the opportunity to go to Haga, and I love it because he talks about it in such a mythical way. He has this phrase. He said, "It will add years to your life." Because it's just out in the countryside, and it's just something that we own as a company. So I am getting the opportunity this May to travel to Haga to go see the factory, and I couldn't be more excited.
Nice, that's awesome. So I'm gonna drop a few names here.
Okay,
that's kind of led me to the Haga glove. So I think the first time I really heard about it was from the ball glove king Chris Bangert. Mm-hmm. He was telling me about this glove that he got, and he's like, I have this Mizuno made in Haga model. And I was embarrassed because I'm in the market, and I was like, I don't really know anything about this glove that he's talking about. And so I was like, all right, so I got to start looking up. And the next thing I came up with, and this is going to be helpful for all our listeners here or viewers, is that What Pros Wear made a video where
Yes,
they go to Haga, Japan. And it's a fantastic video, actually.
it
That kind of
is.
shows the factory. And like Adam was saying, it is like super picturesque, like just nestled right in like some mountains there. And you just get the sense of how much those craftsmen care about what they're building within that factory. It was
Yeah.
definitely really cool. Will, for you, with those gloves that do come to the United States and get that made in Haga distinction, what's the obvious ways that you would know that that is a made in Haga model?
Really, one of two ways, just if you're going to flip a glove around.
Uh-huh.
And then there's going to be some things that it's going to come through the feel. But the visual test is going to be either it actually saying made in Japan,
Okay.
which has an oval around it. That's kind of our old stamping.
Okay.
We have some that actually say Haga Japan. So it has the name Haga on it. But
Hmm.
really, anything that we are bringing that is coming out of that factory, it's either going to have the word Japan on it or Haga. And Adam, correct me if I'm wrong.
Nope, you nailed it. Definitely there'll be a Haga Japan, or like Will said, that oval that I'm showing here to the people on YouTube. You can see that's the old school Made in Japan logo, and if it has either of those two logos, then it is a Made in Japan Haga
And
Mizuno
then
glove.
for Adam, you heard me say there might be something when it comes to feel. One thing I've felt myself, but also I've heard Chris, who is an acquaintance of mine, really value that relationship. It's the fact that they are lighter weight because there's no excess build in a Haga. It's everything you need, nothing you don't, and it does not compromise on structural integrity. So I've heard Chris talk about it often. He's like, man, the glove does not get bullied, things like that. That kind of terminology. It just holds its structure very well. But I think if the people watching and the glove enthusiasts, if they picked up a Haga, they would go, "Wow, this is light."
And it's one of those things where it's hard to show in pictures, to be honest with you, because it looks like a
Uh-huh.
baseball glove. But to anyone who actually puts one on their hand, feels it, gives it the smell test, all of that sort of stuff. I mean, you can tell right away, oh, this glove is on another level. And it's one of those things where they've sent me dozens of gloves at a time that are supposed to be the same
Hmm.
glove, and they are all
Really?
identical to a T. They're all identical. You can mix them up, and I don't know where they're all identical. And the funny thing about, we've had some samples come in. Actually, it was the Scott Rowland glove came in, and and the guy at the Haga factory was saying, "I'm sorry, I can't send your sample that we were going to send. It's not good enough." There was a little tiny crease in the heel, and all we were kind of looking for was the
Uh-huh.
color. Like we wanted to match the right color. And he said, "I can't let this leave the
Oh man.
factory."
Yeah.
It had a little crease
So
in the
that's
heel.
that's their
So
expectations are so high standard, and they also we can only bring in a certain number from Japan. They can only export a certain amount. So that's also something that makes it very limited. Is we can't just say, "Hey, we need 5,000 Haga gloves," because we're just going to kill the market. They're only allowed to give out a certain amount, and so we have to, stay within those guidelines.
Nice. That is that's pretty cool. Just so when you look at the Mizuno gloves that we see on US amateur fields today, they're high quality. And when you think about the glove, I haven't put my hand in a Haga, but I really want to after having this conversation because I can't imagine what it feels like. I feel like the new term for when you put on a nice glove is butter is
Yeah,
what I've been hearing. And I feel like that's the only word that's going to be able to describe what it feels like
yeah.
when you have a Haga model.
And
So,
also, I want to tell the listeners
uh-huh.
something that's super special about our brand is the five glove craftsmen at Haga.
Hmm.
They travel on a rotation consistently to all of our different factories to make sure from top to bottom, all the way down to our $40 glove, entry level glove, that it is crafted and shaped by a Haga Craftsman. So that's why when you go, wow, our MVP Prime, our $125 glove, or our franchise, which is $85, when people put that on, they go, wow, this feels great. It's because it's been approved and approved by a Haga Craftsman, and they have taught the laborers there who are making the gloves what their expectations are. So that's how we kind of quality control the quality and craftsmanship of our glove and our whole line of ball gloves.
Okay. Nice. That is awesome to know. I love that. I mean, just, from working in this type of position before I did my current job that I have now, I was a rep. Customers would call in, I'd take the phone call, and anytime that a manufacturer was willing to come and talk to us about the product, that just I was always super excited and more encouraged to work well and be able to explain that type of product better. So I can imagine what that does for for those workers in those factories. But just like talking about the glove culture in Japan, they're just like, so there seems to be so much more over there in Japan, and I'm happy that you guys are bringing it here. One of the things that I love after watching that What Pros Wear video that I mentioned earlier, the titles that they have for some of the craftsmen, so Ko Kishimoto, he is, I think they call him the glove meister. Is that like the term that's on his doors?
Yes, and he is the master craftsman.
Okay, yeah. And there is, I don't know if anybody has ever heard this story, but I know that in 2006, he was going to take over to be the master craftsman from, I'm probably going to say his name wrong, Nobuyoshi Tsubota is how I think it might be said.
That was pretty good.
And so Ko Kishimoto, he got to travel to the United States and proudly displayed 6 of his gloves that he made specifically for Ichiro Suzuki. And I believe that the story goes that he presented them to Ichiro Suzuki, and within a minute, Ichiro rejected all 6 gloves.
That's true.
And it was, it's an incredible story. And just again, I spoke earlier, you guys, the humility that he was like, I have to get better immediately. And he eventually did. He brought gloves back to Ichiro, and Ichiro did approve the gloves in the end. But I just love that story. I think that one is a great story. Go ahead.
It's a great story, and for those people who don't know, Tsubota-san was he was the top. He was the pinnacle of glove craftsmen. So he was taking over for someone who had been there for a very, very long time and who had built the reputation, since 1989 of the Mizuno glove craftsman. So when Ko was taking over, Ichiro had already won gold gloves in the US. He had already won, I think, some batting titles. So he was a big deal over here, and making his glove was such a big deal. The one thing that some people don't know, and that we found out in a later video that we did with our Area 51 release in January 2023, was that Ko actually made almost 100 gloves, and he brought his personal 6 best over to show Ichiro. So he made more than 6. He made tons of gloves, and then he brought his 6 personal best that Ichiro said, I think we need to try again here. And the funny thing is that Ichiro said to him, "You're trying to be Tsubota-san. You need to be Ko." So he's trying to remake, and it's a very Japanese way of speaking, and it was interesting to see. So there's a secondary YouTube video that is about Ko and Ichiro that's very interesting to watch.
Yes, and the cherry on top, you can see in the video that Ko Kishimoto said, "I will not consider myself to have succeeded, even though Ichiro accepted his glove. I will not consider myself a success unless he wins a gold glove with it." So he said he held his breath all season waiting for the awards to be given out. And yes, Ichiro got another one. But for your listeners, Ichiro, it's not that Ko brought him bad gloves. If you listen to Ichiro, especially in the translations and all that stuff, what he is able to describe in the feel of a glove is so incredible. So I think anybody listening to this podcast, go check it out on YouTube. It's Ichiro and Mizuno and our master craftsman. It's probably like a 40-minute YouTube video, and it's well worth the watch.
All right. Nice. I'm excited. I have not watched that one, so I am definitely going to get after that. I really like as well. It does sound like, as you guys were describing the Haga gloves, it was like the quest for Ichiro's glove was how light can you make it while it's also still durable. And it sounds like for the made in Haga gloves, that's the quest. It sounds like it's like how light can this be, and it's got to be durable, like so that nothing is sacrificed.
Yeah, there's no compromises with the glove. I think in the entire glove world.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. The other guy I loved, just with nicknames that I mentioned earlier, I believe his name is Nori Ito is his name. And in the video, he's called the closer and it sounds like if you're a professional baseball, if you're a Major League Baseball player in the United States and you get a Mizuno glove, it sounds like there's no chance that you're going to get your glove unless he gets his hands on it to get it prepped for you to start using it. Is that correct?
That's correct. I mean, Nori, before COVID, he was coming over to spring trainings and he was breaking in gloves for MLB athletes, everything like that. So a lot of our MLB athletes know Nori-san, and that's something that we're hoping to resume now that Japan had really strict travel restrictions. And now that those are loosening up, we're hoping to kind of resume those services from our glove craftsman from Haga.
Nice.
Yeah, and Nori is a magician with the mallet. I've seen him do some things with that mallet and break in some gloves in a way that, like, this glove was a single hinge glove. All of a sudden it's a dual hinge, and he's done some magic with it. Like, he does some really crazy stuff, and all the big leaguers really seem to gravitate towards him when he does come to camp. And, you know, he's got a good sense of humor too.
He's a showman.
As a side. Yeah, he's a showman for sure. So
I'm glad that you said that, Adam, because I didn't notice it. It was on my piece of paper that his other nickname was the Magician, is what what some players call him. So that's funny that you said that.
There you go.
And you guys did kind of hint on this earlier, but with the Japanese culture being so different from the United States, and you guys starting to kind of with like you're bringing the Mizuno USA and Mizuno Japan closer together. What has it been like working with Mizuno Japan? I assume it's been an awesome experience, but what is that, Adam? What has that kind of been like?
Yeah, it's honestly been a great experience. I mean, they're great to deal with, and like I said, with COVID, it kind of made it easier to talk to them with all the video calls and stuff. And we've talked about, and me and Will have told the story about the Scott Rowland glove before, and how, you know, for many years we've been asking for that big M logo back. We've said, you know, we'd love to get that big M logo back. Like it was a staple on the baseball diamonds across the world for so many years, and we went away from it, which was fine. But, you know, it's a nostalgic thing. We wanted to bring it back, and the Japanese would always kind of just smile and nod at us, like, and they would, okay, you know, whatever. And then when Scott was, it was when he was voted in, I guess that would be, is that in January?
Early in the year.
I think it is?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got voted in last year, and we kind of, the Mizuno USA marketing team we were sitting down talking about just marketing initiatives for the year. And that happened that day. And we kind of said, oh, like, what if we could do Scott's old glove? And thought that'd be amazing, but in order to do it, we need the big M. We need to have the big M, and we can't do it without it. So Will and I's next call, actually, I should say, Will and I discussed this
at length.
At length of how to bring this up.
It's like asking your dad, you know, for something really big.
Like, Dad, I want a PlayStation 2.
Yeah,
but
you're right. It's a long shot.
Yeah, but we knew if we framed it a certain way, we had a shot, you know. So long story short, we get on a Zoom call with them, and we were talking about some other things, and like we'd put the groundwork in actually with this limited glove program, and they'd seen the success so far, and we said, you know, it'd be really something special to possibly do something for Scott Rowland to commemorate him, and he didn't say no. He said, let me get back to you. When we asked for the big M, and I saw Will on the screen. Will looked at me, like, you know, like you're like, oh, there might be something here. And then a week later, sure enough, he got on a call with us again and said, I think we could do this, you know? So, the language barrier is not that, like, they try very hard to learn
Okay.
English, and a lot of them are very good. We're the ones that are lacking. I know Will's trying to learn, some Japanese as well, but, for the most part, it's quite easy working with them. The hardest part is that time, the time
Yeah.
change, and trying to find a time to meet with them when it's 9 p.m. at night for us and it's 7 in the morning for them or whatever. So for us, it's a great company to work for. I don't want to speak for Will, but I know that we love working for Mizuno, and we know it's a Japanese company. We know the heritage, so we always try to be respectful and pay homage to that. But the Japanese are just as respectful to us too, so it's
Yeah,
great.
and I just would add that any glove that we do, the main thing behind it that we're asked is, what is the story? Because Japan, in order for us to continue to have freedom to bring things to market, they don't just want us bringing a color. They want us. They want it to feel important and represent their brand. We've been a brand since 1906. We've been making ball gloves since 1910. It is so important to them, and I'm glad, even though sometimes our head guy, kind of keeper of the gate of Mizuno, he's been with the company for over 25 years. He's hard on us in an appropriate way because he has high expectations, which really makes Adam and I really think hard. A lot of times our first ideas, one thing I love about the position we're in, our first ideas don't come to market. We have, as kind of I don't want to call us a two-man team because we're open-minded, we discuss, but normally we ping pong ideas back and forth, Adam and I, then we bring it to our marketing team and it keeps going, what if, what if? So these great stories, it just, over the next couple of months and hopefully for the next handful of years and beyond, you'll see some great storytelling from our brand matched with heritage product and innovative product alike.
Nice. That's awesome. I imagine if you guys both make it over there with to Haga, you guys are going to be like kids in a candy store going
100%. I mean, my biggest concern is getting in trouble. And so I might just have to keep my hands in my pocket and my mouth shut the whole time.
That's funny. But yeah, so with this interview, we kind of went backwards. We went heavy on the reveal right at the beginning, but I'm interested in letting everybody else know a little bit more about you guys as well. So from what I understand, you work together now, but you guys actually have a connection that goes back even further than Mizuno. In 2001, I was informed you guys actually played baseball against each other in the Junior Sunbelt Classic. Will, you were a pitcher on a team from Georgia, and Adam, you represented the team from Canada. Is that right?
That's right. McAllister, Oklahoma. We were just scrawny little teenagers, and didn't know Will then, but yeah, it was one of my favorite tournaments. Pete Rose was there signing autographs. Pete Incaviglia, I remember his son was in it, and he was at home plate. And he was this big hulking guy, and it was one of the best tournaments I've ever played in. And I had such a great time playing there, and then I got to Mizuno, and Will got to Mizuno, and we're talking, and we're sharing stories, and I'm like, I think I played in that tournament. He's like, I played in that tournament too. And Will's team was stacked. You guys mercied us. I remember this vividly. You guys mercied us. Jeff Francoeur,
Brian
walk-off.
Brian McCann, Matt Capps, these guys. I was a boy amongst men, so I was not bringing the clout to that team. There were some big leaguers, future big leaguers on that team that I was fortunate to play with.
Nice, that's cool. Did you guys know? Did you guys face like because Will, you're a pitcher.
Yep.
Adam, you were an infielder. I think I looked up. Is that correct? Did you ever figure out if you actually pitched against him or anything like that?
So I haven't gone back in the stats. I do know I pitched in that tournament, I believe, twice. And so there's a great likelihood that we did. I swapped out a shirt. I have a Team Canada shirt that I still proudly wear. But it's crazy just that we have that connection from our past. And we really do love this brand. For those of you watching, I'm going to flash something. Like, this is my first ever glove.
Oh, nice.
From 1989. It's a Mizuno Black Magic mesh back. So there is something special. I think Adam and I really appreciate the Japanese culture and how they bring product and what kind of product they have. So I feel fortunate that I'm in the position I'm in.
Nice.
And I don't know if we faced each other, Ben. I know that I hit a double in that game, but what I will say in the first inning, because Frank here threw a guy out, threw our leadoff guy out, going first to home from the center field wall. It was unbelievable. And then he hit a walk-off grand slam. But what I will say is I know now Will would get me out because Will's still in game shape. I know he's throwing all the time. He's in the back there throwing bullpens and stuff. So I know if we faced off today, he would definitely
Hey,
have my
I
number.
have now put that out there. I have not officially retired. My last year was 2014, but my former teammate, Charlie Morton, he's older than me, and he is still playing. And I saw him last year, and I said, Charlie, as long as you are playing, I'm going to think I can still be out there.
There you
So,
go. That's fun. Nice. So Will, so after that Sun Belt Classic, so you went and pitched at the University of Georgia, and you were drafted in the 5th round in 2005. And then I think I was looking by the end of 2006, you had made it all the way to AAA. Is that correct?
that's correct.
What was the journey? I'm just interested. That's a huge flipper. I know that D1's a bit, that's huge, but that had to be a
Yeah.
huge flip from D1 to AAA in 1 year.
Yeah, you know what? I'll try to say this quickly. Like after my freshman year in college, I played for the Georgia Bulldogs. I thought to myself, like I wanted to be a major league ball player, but I thought to myself, man, I've got to get good sometime.
Uh-huh.
Like to take those next steps. I was able to play in the Cape Cod League, and had success there. Going back to my sophomore year at Georgia, we got to the College World Series, and I got to face top level talent, and I think that's where I got a lot of exposure. And then after my junior year, got drafted, and being a left-handed reliever, if I was a starter, they might have said, "Hey, we need to develop him, see what he looks like at this particular level for a whole season." But I started in 2005. That summer they put me in low A for the Rome Braves, and the next year they started me in high A. I pitched one game. I got called up to double A. I was there for a month and a half, and then they called me up to triple A. So my head was spinning, but I do think playing in the SEC against that top level talent and even top talent at the College World Series, it helped me have confidence that I'm trying to make you. I was not a flamethrower. I'm trying to deceive you, and honestly, I want to force soft contact because
Okay.
then I get to save my pitches. So had a great pitching coach. Now he's the head coach at Auburn University, Coach Thompson. But he helped shape me mentally. My high school coach was great in doing that. But yeah, they really fast tracked me, and I was right on the verge in AAA as a 21-year-old.
Nice. That's pretty cool. And it's also cool. You got to play at Rosenblatt for the College World
Oh,
Series.
I got to play in the old Rosenblatt.
Yeah.
And the thing that I like about that is at the College World Series, we played in front of 26,000 people. And you can't you can't split the crowd 13,000 for your team, 13,000 for the other team. It's just fans cheering for great baseball. It was one of the best environments I've ever played in.
That's really cool. Nice. And Adam, so after you guys played in that junior Sun Belt Classic, I think I said it right. Where did your baseball career take you after that? Did you play in college?
Yeah, so I guess my career wasn't as elaborate or
Don't worry.
as good
I'm the
as
same.
as good as Will's, but yeah, mine was much shorter and less exciting than Will's. I think maybe more fun. I don't know, but no, I played with some studs on that team, and a lot of them went down south and played pro. But I turned down some D1 partials and some JUCO offers, and I stayed in Canada. I was more of a mama's boy, I guess, and stayed at home, Brock University here in Canada, and then the cool thing for me was we have a semi-professional league here that I played in, and it's called the Intercounty League. It's been around since 1919. That year I played. John Axford was on our team, and there's probably a couple dozen big leaguers that have played in the league over the years. And Yeah, so Axe was there, and our third baseman was working for Mizuno Canada, and he'd played pro, and he'd got up to AAA as well. And it's a league where guys, either college guys come home for the summer to play, or pro guys come to retire and have a family and have a real job, but still play some good ball, right? So our third baseman, Hung Cho, was working at Mizuno, and he said, "We got a job opening. I think you'd be great for it. Customer service, get your foot in the door." 15 years later, bunch of roles later, I'm still here. And, I tell people the game of baseball, playing it, opened up so many doors for me off the field, that the memories I had on the field, the people I've met throughout my time playing, it really have shaped my career and who I am today. And it's a game that keeps giving back, and you keep meeting people, and guys like you, Ben, like, appreciate being on here. And without the game of baseball, you and me wouldn't be talking. So I think it's an amazing game, and I'm really humbled to be a part of it and have my career be in baseball still.
I knew I liked you, knowing that you started in customer service. So yeah, we're kindred spirits in that sense. So that's awesome. No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was just going to say, customer service was a lot of fun. I got to learn about the Mizuno golf line, the Mizuno running line, volleyball, all these other sports that we do that I didn't know about, and I got fast tracked through it, and it was a outstanding time. It's a great company to work for. So yeah, I just wanted to say, customer service it's a tough job. It really is, but they are very important, because they are the first line of defense, and they're the face of your company sometimes. So I really appreciate what people in customer service do for us.
Nice.
For sure.
And then, Will, so you put a pause on your baseball career in 2014.
Yeah, I like how you said that.
So, and then I read, so you completed a graphic design undergrad and an industrial design master's to eventually join Mizuno, but not in gloves right away,
No.
correct? So how did you make your way into gloves after joining Mizuno?
Yeah, again, I'll try to be quick. So not only did I start my pro career at 21 years old, but I also got married at 21 years old, and happy to still be married to her. But she's such an encourager in my life. So when my baseball career was coming to an end, or we were thinking about putting it on pause, I was it's hard to take that next step, because for most of your life, I was 30 years old and thinking, like, a lot of times you can find a lot of your identity and being a ball player and what to do next. But since the 6th grade, always been sketching shoes and loving gear. I've got all my East Bay catalogs still. And so
Nice.
Instead of going back to the University of Georgia, my wife helped set me up, transfer me to Savannah College of Art and Design, because I wanted to design. So I wound up finishing my degree, undergrad in graphic design, learned so much through that. It helped unlock a whole world for me. And then, my last year in Pro Ball in 2014, I visited another brand, and specifically wanting to learn more about their cleated footwear process. And they told me, listen, it's great if you can draw a pretty picture, but you need to know how the product works. So industrial design, you've got to be exposed to industrial design somehow. So again, fast forward to after I completed my undergrad, my wife got me all signed up. I had to take a GRE so I could be accepted into a master's program. I was accepted by my enemies at the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. So I always say the University of Georgia. The Georgia Bulldogs have my heart, but Tech has my brain. So I was exposed to some industrial design there, and then an internship. I know I was a little bit later in life, maybe 33 years old, but they said, hey, I kept knocking on the door. Mizuno's in my backyard. And they said, hey, can you come do an internship and let's see what that rolls into? So I did. I was on the design side. I designed backpacks, helped with batting gloves, helped with headwear, helped with golf bags, all different kinds of product categories. It rolled into a full-time job. I did that for 4 years. All the while, I knew it was important for me to learn everything I could, and I needed to learn really quickly. But then to take the next step with my career, I wanted to have a little bit more influence over the product. So to be able to say, this is what our company needs, and this is why we need it, And then to have a design background, I can still help influence the design process. Sometimes, I love working on a team, being collaborative. I think playing baseball really helped me with that because it's not a solo sport. So I try to bring that attitude with Adam. And my other coworkers. I just love brainstorming, and then storytelling gets better and better. And I secretly probably want to be on our marketing team, but I try to support them as well as I can without overtaking them. But it has been so much fun. But I will tell you, shout out to my wife. I needed that support from her. Otherwise, I would have just thought I would have taken a different route. So a lot of appreciation goes to her, and it's important the people you surround yourself with. You need encouragers.
Nice. I love that you mentioned that storytelling piece there at the end. Just with today, I feel like this is really cool, this interview, because we're talking about that reveal and how cool that clear glove is, but just knowing your guys' story, I think your guys' story is super helpful just to kind of see the passion behind, you guys aren't just pumping out gloves with cool designs. No. There's thought, and you guys are interested in continuing to tell your guys' story, and then also the story of Mizuno as well.
I appreciate it.
Release.
The one thing that I love about Adam, and I just want to compliment him while he's on there and affirm him as a coworker. He's been with Mizuno for over 15 years, but his mind, he can go back in his mind 15 years ago to the catalog, to the product. So nice. Anytime I have a question, a lot of times I ask Adam first, and most times he does not have to look it up in our system. He just knows it. So that's been a wonderful asset. And I sometimes I just kind of knock on his brain and say, hey, can I come over? Can you let me in? And he's got these great stories and products that we go, what if we did this? So nice. A lot of good things to come.
Nice. That's exciting. I'm really pumped for how the rest of these Mizuno Limited Glove Program launches will go. So thank you guys so much for joining us today. This interview has been awesome, just chock full of great stories. For those of you out there, we hope you enjoyed listening to this episode as well. If you guys want to help us out, just go ahead and tell someone else out there about the podcast. We're trying to get the word out, and that's the best way to do it, is for the fans of the podcast to tell others. If you're listening on Spotify or Apple, definitely give us a 5-star rating. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us that thumbs up. We would greatly appreciate it. Till we meet again, this was Beyond the Glove. Have a great day.